So 1.6 part 3. We're going to start with number 1 at the bottom left. So when we're solving equations with square roots, so here we're solving equations involving radicals. Step 1 is we want to isolate the square root. So we want to get the square root all by itself. So looking at number 1, how could I get the square root, so just this part, all by itself? Subtract 16, perfect. So then we have negative square root 3x plus 1 equals 20 minus 16 would be 4. What else do we need to do? Divide by negative 1. So we have the square root of 3x plus 1 equals negative 4. Once we get the square root all by itself, what do you think we could do next to cancel out the square root?
Divide.
Square both sides. So we square both sides. We have 3x plus 1 equals, what's negative 4 squared? Positive 16. From here, we just solve for x. So since it's just an x, I can move everything to one side, make it x equals. So what should I do next? Subtract 1. 3x equals 15. Divide by 3. So what does x equal?
5.
Awesome. X equals 5. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is a little bit different. When we have a square root equals a square root, here we can just square both sides. So the square root and the squared are going to cancel. So we're just left with everything that's under the square root. So 5x minus 1 equals negative 3x plus 7. What do you think we should do next? Awesome. Let's add 3x. We're going to combine like terms, and we can add 1. So we get 8x equals 8. What's next? Divide by 8. So x equals 1. Perfect. Right, we're going to go back up to the first one here. So the one at the top of the page. So we want to isolate the square root. We got to get the square root all by itself. So what should we do first? Subtract 1. So we have 2x minus 1 equals negative square root of 2 minus x. What should we do next? Divide everything by negative 1. So it changes the signs of both things on the left side of the equation. So we have negative 2x plus 1. So it just flips the signs. And then on the right side, it just makes it a positive square root 2 minus x. Doesn't change the signs inside the square root, but it just changes the sign of everything else. Once we get the square root all by itself, what should we do next? We're going to square both sides to get rid of the square root. Now be careful when you square the left side. So on the right side, the square root and the squared cancel. But on the left side, negative 2x plus 1 squared, we have to write it twice and FOIL it out. So we have negative 2x plus 1 times negative 2x plus 1. So since you're adding two things in the parentheses here, when you square it, you can't just square both terms. Can't distribute the squared. You have to write it twice and FOIL it out. So when we FOIL, negative 2x times negative 2x be 4x squared. Negative 2x times 1 is negative 2x. 1 times negative 2x is negative 2x. And 1 times 1 is 1. What do you think we should do next? Let's combine like terms. So we have 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 2 minus x. What should we do next? We still have like terms to combine, so I'm going to subtract 2 and add x to move it to the other side. So we get 4x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0. How would we solve here? Quadratic formula will work, but let's see if it factors first. Because if it factors, then it'll save us all the time of doing the quadratic formula. So to factor here, since our leading coefficient is not 1, we have to multiply the first times the last. So 4 times -1 would be -4. Do we have two factors of -4 that add to -3?
Yes.
-4 and +1. So we have x minus 4 and x plus 1. Now when we start by multiplying, what do we have to remember to do? Divide. You always want to divide by that first number. So we're going to divide by 4. So we get x minus 1 when we simplify the fraction. So simplify the fraction if you can. If it doesn't simplify, we move it in front of the x. So this would be 4x plus 1. From here, we can just set each one equal to 0. So we just need to solve x minus 1 equals 0. What would x equal? 1, perfect. And then 4x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 to move it to the other side. And then divide by 4. We get x equals -1 over 4. Now with questions like this, when you end up with 2 answers, you have to check your work. So if you end up with 2 solutions, you have to check your work. Yeah. So it's a little bit more work than in 1.6 part 2 when we checked our work, we just had to lightly plug it in. Here we have to actually plug it in and solve. So we have, let's check x equals 1 first. So we have 2, I'm plugging in 1 into all of my x's in the original equation. So 2 times 1 equals 1 minus the square root of 2 minus 1. So 2 times 1 would be 2 equals 1 minus, 2 minus 1 is 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. What's 1 minus 1? Does 2 equal 0? Is that true? No. So x equals 1 is not a solution. It doesn't work. Because 2 does not equal 0. It's not true. Next, let's try x equals -1/4. So same thing, we're going to plug it into our original equation. So 2 times -1/4 equals 1 minus the square root of 2 minus -1/4 would turn into plus. So 2 times -1/4 would be -2/4. What does -2/4 simplify to? -1/2, perfect. Equals 1 minus 2 plus 1/4. What do we need when we're adding with fractions? Common denominator. So I could make this 8/4. So that would be the square root of 9/4 when we add them together. What's the square root of 9? 3. And what's the square root of 4? 2. So that would simplify to 3/2. Last step, let's subtract on the right side. So again, we need a common denominator. I can make this 2/2. So you have -1/2 equals 2 minus 3 would be -1/2. Is this true? Yes. So our only answer would be x equals -1/4. So we just have one solution. So anytime you end up with 2 answers, you have to check your work. It is possible that both of the answers could work. It is possible that neither will work. Sometimes just one will work, but you got to check them both. Yeah. All right, we're going to skip number 3 on the next page. Let's go to number 4. What should we do first for number 4? add 5. We want to isolate our square root, get it all by itself. So we got to add 5 to move it to the other side. So we have the square root of 3m plus 2 equals 5. What should we do next? Square both sides, so it'll cancel out with the square root. So we have 3m plus 2 equals 25. What's next? Subtract 2. So 3m equals 23. And then what? Divide by 3. So m equals, does 3 go into 23? Can we simplify our fraction? Nope, so we'll just leave it as 23 over 3. Any questions here? Awesome. Next, let's do number 5. What should we do first for number 5? We can subtract 3. We want to get the square root all by itself, so subtract 3. So negative square root of x minus 3 equals x minus 3. What should we do next? Perfect. Divide by negative 1. So the negatives will cancel. So we have the square root of x minus 3 equals, on the right side, everything just changes its sign. So negative x plus 3. What should we do next? Once our square root is all by itself, what should we do? Square both sides. So the square root and the squared cancels. We're just left with x minus 3 equals, on the right side, we have to write it twice and FOIL it out. So negative x plus 3 times negative x plus 3. We have to FOIL. What's negative x times negative x? X squared. Negative x times 3 would be negative 3x. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. And 3 times 3? 9. We can combine our like terms. So x minus 3 equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. Could I factor from here? Could we factor here?
Yeah.
We got to move the x and the 3 to the other side. It has to be equal to 0 before we can factor. So let's subtract x and add 3. I'm going to write it up here so we have more room. We have 0 equals x squared minus 7x plus 12. From here we can factor. It's got to be equal to 0 before we can factor. So what are 2 factors of 12 that add to negative 7? Negative 3 and negative 4, right? So x minus 3 and x minus 4 equals 0. So what does x equal? 3 and 4. What do we have to do when we get 2 answers? We got to check it. So let's check each one. Let's check x equals 3 first. So I'm plugging it into my original equation. So I have 3 minus the square root of 3 minus 3 equals x. Oops, and x is 3. So 3 minus, what's 3 minus 3? 0. What's the square root of 0? And 3 minus 0? 3. Does 3 equal 3?
Yes.
Yes. So 3 works. Next, let's check 4. So we're going to plug 4 in. So we have 3 minus the square root of 4 minus 3 equals 4. So 3 minus, 4 minus 3 is what? 1. So the square root of 1. What's the square root of 1? So 3 minus 1 is what?
2.
Does 2 equal 4?
No.
So is 4 a solution? No, doesn't work. So you have to check your answers when you get 2 solutions. What should we do first for number 6? Add 8. So 3 times the square root of 3x minus 5 equals 12. What should we do next? Divide by 3. So the square root of 3x minus 5 equals 4. Then what? Square both sides. So the square root and the squared cancel. So 3x minus 5 equals, what's 4 squared? 16. Then what should we do? Add 5. So 3x equals 21. What's the last step? Divide by 3. So what does x equal? 7. Awesome.